All your keys.
Oh yeah, I just want key 1 on them. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. Yeah, because you're going back and resetting the still. So it's the same procedure you had for your first still. We're going to go back in and use the hue control.
You want to get in front of me? You want to get in front of me?
And
Sure.
this is the only weather still I've got right now, so I'm going to make that our weather still. At least it says forecast. And then you're going to turn the menu off. So far I've done exactly the same thing we did on the first still, except I turned the hue knob and went to the different still. And you'll either have this still to work with, or I'll try to find the bi-state. There's a bi-state here, but it's got graphics on it, so I don't want to use it. And I tried all the keywords for search, so I don't know where I found it before, but it may reappear. All right, so we've got that, and the whole concept is that we're going to store it. Okay. So we've done all the steps, and
We turn the menu off.
we get turned background, key 1, and dissolve, because we're going to be dissolving to our still. The background is going to take us from camera 2 to our still store, which is on key 1. Okay. So far, so good. You're seeing it in your preset bus. Background, because you're going to be on camera 2 prior to going to weather. Key 1 is your weather still. And dissolve happens to be the transition that you're using to go to that. So we're going to store that on memory 01. So the procedure is essentially the same. Memory. Over here, change your number to 1. Okay. Remember the switcher defaulted to 00 for your first one. So you're going to just use the up arrow and go 01. And then you notice when you did so, look what happened to your switcher. It lights
went to
up,
1.
went to 1. And so, did I hit the learn button?
Nope, you will now.
I hit the learn button, and then I'm going to do that one more time, because I just want to make sure the switcher did go to 1. I can remember I can record over something in the same function. So that should be our second setup, memory 01. Okay. So not much change from the chroma key that we had, except we didn't do a chroma key, but you got into the still store the same way. And you're only going to use 2 stills, so that's the last still you're going to have to access. Okay.
And there we'll put the graphics from the downstream key.
Right. Well, no, we're going to do key 2 first.
Okay.
Now, let's think about this. Remember how before you set camera 2 on program?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now what you want for the background is your still, so that you can program the wipe of the graphics. So we're going to move the fader bar so that your still is on the program bus. Remember, you can't do it here because this still store is over here.
Okay.
Now, it's going to seem odd to you because you're going to see black on program. But here's what we have to look at. See how key 1 still says on air and on air here?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at your program monitor, it's actually feeding out key 1. You're still not black.
So that's why you told us we need to work on being able to do it and look up the monitor, right?
You can't direct without looking at monitors. You can't do it well.
Yeah.
Kind of like parallel parking without looking.
Well, they have those cars now
I know. Let's not even go down that road. All right.
that. No pun intended.
Select key 2 for our graphics. Right? We're going to add some graphics. So with key 2, you notice key 1, the light goes out, but it's still on air because it's still feeding program. On air means it's programmed. Okay? What do you want to add to your still?
Character generator?
Character generator. What a great concept. You think you might have to use self-key on that?
Could happen, yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
And you might have to clip and gain it?
Possibly.
In other words, this part should be pretty familiar to the last project we did, right?
Yep.
So, key 2's were key 2 the first time around was your chroma key. Key 2 the second time around is your graphics for your weather. So, on the key source bus, you're adding CG to your still. You have to self-key it so that you can clip and gain it.
Did you, did that already light up on its own?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then one more thing we gotta do, what kind of transition do you want on your graphics?
You're wiping them.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to program the
Is
switcher
it
to
a
do
cross
that.
wipe or like?
No. Well, we're just going to default to wipe pattern, the one in the upper corner. We don't need to complicate this more. You could select any of these you wanted to. But as I look at graphics, we read left to right,
So you might as well
so
wipe
we
it.
might as well just wipe left to right. I mean, why make it
fine,
more
you're fine.
complicated? So make sure that you select and wipe, because you're gonna see when I do the walkthrough in the project, your switcher, every time I do a memory function, all these lights are gonna change, but it's gonna be to your favor. I mean, you're gonna love it when you see how easy it is to walk through the project as it's programmed. And so we're gonna program that as memory 02, aren't we? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay, so, I think we should turn memory on.
Yep.
And we need to up our arrow to
Two.
2, or you might think it was 02.
Learn.
And the good news is you're seeing that your white pattern 02, where you're gonna store your memory, is already lit up. Switcher loves you. Who's your best buddy?
Learn. Ross.
Ross, thank you. You're gonna learn it. Actually, the switcher's gonna learn it. You're gonna store it on 02.
Now, how can you say, learn key 1 at a different time at key 2 when they're going to be used together?
Because it comes in 2 steps.
Oh yeah, you bring it.
Bless you. Allergy season.
Yeah, bye.
As we look at our script, let's look at the top of that page, that weather page. It's a 2-step process. The previous project, it was a 1-step process. Step 1, dissolve to still. Then a split second later, you're wiping to graphics. So that's why the still is memory 01, the graphics 02. I have to write down so we get that 0 and 0, 1 things. I always like to start with 1. Okay? Well, now we're going to program the switcher to dissolve to camera 1. That's going to close.